For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. YouTube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. Now, you've been sending in pictures to our Eyewitness platform. Let's take a look at some of them together, shall we? First is this video from Ishawo, which is in Ikorodu, an area of Lagos. Our Eyewitness laments that this road has been like this for more than 2 years after the project began. He says the state of the road is bringing untold hardship to residents and motorists who have to frequent mechanic workshops. He wants the state government to help send the contractors back to site. Our next video is from Satellite Town, also in Lagos State. It shows the effect of flood on the road. According to our Eyewitness, this road is the main access road to the community. He says the deplorable state is worsened by the presence of tankers along the axis. He laments that this is a recipe for frustration. He's asking relevant authorities to give attention to the road. Finally, we have this image from Wanikade, North Ukele area of Cross River State. It shows the deplorable state of the road, which our Eyewitness says has become a nightmare for residents and motorists alike. He wonders how the road got this bad and is appealing to relevant government agencies to attend to this. Thank you for sending in those pictures and the videos. Please keep them coming. This week was another moment for Nigerians to remember their history. President Muhammadu Buhari, in his 5th Independence Day broadcast, shared his thoughts on the journey so far and his hopes of a brighter future. But have Nigerian leaders learned from all the mistakes of the past? And what is the president demanding from citizens in his speech? And what should families and businesses expect from the government? To analyze the president's Independence Day message, with me is Babajide Ogusowo, Channels Television's data consultant. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Good evening, Amachi. The pleasure is always mine.
Yeah, and you seem to be the man with all the answers, aren't you?
We hope to get some answers tonight. Tonight's episode, this week was a beautiful week. We've seen a reason to celebrate and remember our history. But there are 3 secrets I would like to share with you tonight. The first is, I'll reveal the secrets on how you can really know if the president read the correct Independence Day speech. The second is, the president is back from South Africa. Tonight, we've also seen the person Nigerians voted for in the Big Brother Nigeria. So we should also ask ourselves a question, and I'll reveal a secret about how do we determine which country the president should go to next if we were to put that to vote. And I'll share how we can do that.
Yeah.
But let's look at the very first secret, how to determine if the speech was right. And I'd like us to quickly look at the quantity of the words the president had used in this Independence Day broadcast, Amarachi. And if we closely listen to the president's speech, here's what you find. In this Independence Day broadcast, he had used 2,423 words. Here's what I mean. This is his longest ever Independence Day speech. 2015 was his shortest Independence Day speech. In 2015, he had used only 1,061 words. Now, we see a speech that has 2,423 words. What does this mean? 1, perhaps the president has realized, or the president's handlers, the speechwriters have seen that there's a need to communicate more to Nigerians. There's a need to explain a lot of what is going on. So we clearly see a president who started in 2015 speaking less to a president who has now delivered his longest day Independence Day broadcast. And looking at the quantity of words, we see that, yes, the president is making an effort to explain what has happened in the past, what is going on in the present, and perhaps what will happen in the future. But more than the quantity of words, let's look at the quality of words, because the quality of words will let us know what the president is thinking. And if we look at the quality of words, there are words that the president often uses: corruption, security, economy. Here's what you find. 2019 Independence Day broadcast. How many times did the president mention corruption? 9 times. How many times did he mention security? 7. And the economy? Only 5 times. In all, since 2015, the president has used corruption 26 times in all his Independence Day broadcasts. Security, he has used security 20 times. and economy 19 times. Here's what I mean. A lot of Nigerians are asking, what will the president focus on and what is the future? From his Independence Day broadcast, we can clearly see what the president is thinking. He's thinking corruption as his priority. And so in the next 3.5 years, we're going to be seeing a lot of news on corruption before we even see news on security and the economy. And yes, I mentioned that I was going to decode how to know if the president's speech is right or not.
Well,
whenever the president speaks...
You're asking the questions and you're answering them anyway.
Because
so
you never give me enough time. But here's what you need to focus on. Whenever the president gives a speech, if you don't see corruption in that speech, perhaps he's reading the wrong speech. Because
so he was reading the right speech this time.
He was reading the right speech. We've seen a lot of corruption. We've seen what he loves to talk about. And clearly we now expect that this words will be translated into positive action in the future.
Let me ask, how well do you think he's doing with corruption? And what else do you think he needs to do to win this war?
You know, you're speaking about corruption. We've heard a lot of people say, whenever we fight, corruption is fighting back. But that is really not true, because corruption gave the first punch. So what is really happening is we are the ones fighting back. Corruption's truth has thrown the first punch, so we are fighting back. And oh yes, tonight we've seen the results of the Big Brother house. But here's what surprised me. Over 240 million Nigerians voted. In other words, there were more votes on BB Niger than even the presidential election.
Yeah.
So if the president, now we've seen him back from South Africa, if we are to vote, Nigerians were to vote, what country should he go to next? And I have one suggestion. The country that has the least, that is rated the least in terms of corruption in Africa, Botswana. Now, yes, South Africa is good for the president to go to, but Transparency International rates Botswana as the least corrupt country in Africa. So if I were to give my vote, the next place the president should go to is Botswana. So the question is, how is Botswana fighting corruption? And so I'd like to share these three things about what Botswana is doing.
Okay.
The first is they've really done a lot about quality of investigation. Botswana has taken the Hong Kong model of fighting corruption and adapted it and adopted it to suit their needs. The first is quality investigation. The second is they've been able to also ensure that they improve how they prevent corruption through better auditing of government processes. And finally, what Botswana also does is a lot of public education programs. I know again you're about to rush up, but whatever it is, let's remember it's time to vote, and I think the president should go to Botswana, because there's a lot of things that...
Start a hashtag on social media.
We can learn from going to Botswana as the least.
Certainly.
But again, clearly, the future, the days ahead, looking at what we've seen, if we're able to fight corruption, focus on security and on the economy, the days ahead are so super bright for young Nigerians. And we want to see a lot of Nigerians not just voting on BB Niger, but also voting when it comes to the election.
Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10. It was a pleasure having you here. Thank you, Babajide Ogunsowa. All that glitters is not gold. That's the sentiment echoed by one of the Imo State-born returnees from South Africa who lost her husband during the recent xenophobic attacks. Mrs. Blessing Emmanuel narrated her experience to Channels Television at the Government House in Owerri, the Imo State capital, where the state governor, Emeka Ihedioha, received 91 Imo-born returnees from South Africa, while advising youths in the country against getting carried away with thoughts of greener pastures abroad. She also appealed to the government to assist in the education of her children.
East or west, home is best, as the saying goes. Although for these Imo State indigenes, south may be the direction on their minds, few weeks after their arrival from South Africa in the wake of the xenophobic attacks on Nigerians and other nationals. These 91 returnees represent the highest number among all the states in the country. They are formally received by the Imo State Governor, Emeka Ihedioha, and other top government functionaries. Some of the returnees narrate their sad experiences, but perhaps the most striking is that of Mrs. Blessing Emmanuel, who had lived in South Africa for over 20 years, but lost her husband and almost everything else during the attacks.
I lost my husband there. during this xenophobic attack. I got 2 children that are grown-ups. The way my husband, my 2 children, they came with me, they're here. So there's no one to assist. It was so terrible. Some of the women, they're here. Now their children, they're no more going to school. They were coming to churches to attack people. So it's so terrible.
We're doing business in Boise. They burnt our machine. We do furniture and upholstery, interior decorating. So when they came on the street, started killing and harassing people and started burning shops. When they burnt our shop, now I realize with my common sense it's better for me to go home and start afresh.
The governor promises to support and reintegrate the returnees into the society after their data has been captured by an interministerial committee that will be set up.
I must thank the federal government for the initiative they've taken, and thank Mr. Onyema of Airpeace for bailing us out at this point in time from this by the humanitarian gesture that he showed. Thank you. Yeah, the government is working with setting up an interministerial committee to see how basically we can help them to resettle.
And while the committee's action is being awaited, they will receive some relief materials and some financial assistance.
They will be receiving ameliorations today and also foodstuff, and also be engaged in a verification exercise that will harmonize the contact list which we have received from the federal government. And from that list we will be able to engage on the long-term process which the committee will give their own communique and recommendations in issues regarding grant access, empowerment, skill and acquisition intervention, and etc., etc.
Hopefully, the state government will carry through its promise of rehabilitating the returnees and banish the ghosts of their horrifying experiences in South Africa.